Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. 3 weeks ago, when the winter session of the Parliament began, the Prime Minister, Speaker and leaders of all parties had stressed on the importance of dialogue, discussion and discipline in the Parliament. Today, the final hours of the session, the second last day, ended with 2 MPs of the BJP in hospital due to jostling and scuffle. 82-year-old Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge claiming that he was hurt, a female MP of the BJP claiming that she felt unsafe, and Congress women MPs also asserting the same. Now, MPs of the BJP and the opposition Congress have accused each other of resorting to violence during protest over this alleged insult to Dr Ambedkar by Union Home Minister Amit Shah earlier this week. Now, the Parliament was a battlefield today, an akhada of sorts where politics played out in a heavily charged scenario with both sides breathing down on each other, trading barbs, pushing, shoving and leaving one question unanswered. Doesn't the Indian Parliament, the highest pedestal of democracy, need to be treated with respect, dignity and sobriety? In a house marred by disruptions, shouldn't there be more resistance to this sort of behavior? Don't people of India deserve better? All this at this point, a functioning parliament with focus on legislative agenda or issues that the country is facing seems to be a distant dream. But is a safe parliament that has decorum and dignity also not on cards? That is what we ask tonight. We will be joined by a panel of guests, but let's first look at some political reactions that came in through the day.
हम एक शांत तरीके से लाइन में हम आ रहे थे, लेकिन उनको क्या सूझा मुझे मालूम नहीं। हम चलते हुए आ रहे हैं, उन्होंने मकर द्वार पे आके हमको रोकने के लिए वहां बैठ गए और हम पार्लियामेंट को टाइम भी खत्म हुआ था और 5 मिनट बाकी थी, इसलिए हम अंदर जाना चाहते थे, लेकिन उन्होंने दरवाजे पे रोका।
अमित शाह जी का बयान आता है और हम पहले से कह रहे हैं कि जो बीजेपी आरएसएस की सोच है, एंटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सोच है, एंटी अंबेडकर जी की सोच है और डायरेक्टली इनके मंत्री ने, होम मिनिस्टर ने डायरेक्टली सबके सामने जो उनका माइंडसेट है वो सबके सामने उन्होंने दिखा दिया। हमने कहा कि अपॉलॉजी होनी चाहिए और उनको रिजाइन करना चाहिए।
राहुल जी BR अम्बेडकर जी की फोटो लेकर शांतिपूर्वक जय भीम के नारे को बोलते हुए संसद में जा रहे थे। संसद में जाने से किसने रोका? आप देख लीजिए, हम इतने दिनों से प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, साइड में प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, जो भी आ रहा है जा रहा है, उसको पूरा रास्ता है।
आज जो कुछ संसद में हुआ उसकी कल्पना भी नहीं की जा सकती। आज जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सांसद मकर द्वार पर विरोध का प्रकटीकरण कर रहे थे, तब राहुल भी आए। सुरक्षा कर्मियों ने उनको कहा कि साइड में जो स्पेस है आप जाने के लिए उसका उपयोग करें, लेकिन जानबूझकर, सोच समझकर राहुल गांधी हमारे सांसदों के बीच में पहुंच गए और न केवल बीच में पहुंचे, उन्होंने ऐसा व्यवहार किया कोई कल्पना कर सकता है, धक्का मुक्की।
हमने श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी के खिलाफ दिल्ली पुलिस में शिकायत दर्ज कराई है, उनके द्वारा शारीरिक हमला और उकसाने के लिए।
जहां तक प्रताप जी सारंगी का प्रश्न है, उनको सिर में 2 टांके इस समय लगे हुए हैं और साथ ही साथ हमारे मुकेश राजपूत के भी सिर में अच्छी खासी चोट लगी है, लेकिन दोनों की हालत अभी इस समय स्थिर हैं। डॉक्टर्स का यह कहना है कि अभी 2-3 दिन का समय हॉस्पिटल में और लग सकता है या इससे ज़्यादा का भी समय लग सकता है।
Joining us now is Kapil Madan, who is from the Congress Party. We have Aarti Jairath, senior journalist and author, also political analyst. We have Charu Pragya from the BJP, and we also have Professor Milind Nawad, who studies identity politics very closely. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Let me start with Aarti Jairath first. Ma'am, we had a chat about this today morning, and you have covered several parliament sessions. Tell us, the constitution debate in some ways was supposed to resolve the matter of who really owns the constitution narrative, but there's been a twist in this story. In your career, have you seen something like this happen in the parliament, or is this a sign of the times that we live in? Because, you know, politics is so polarized that there really is no meeting ground.
Not just polarized, Vasudha, it's teetering on the edge of violence, because what we saw today is something absolutely unprecedented. And you know, I mean, what would Ambedkar have to say about this? That, you know, this is, you know, MPs resorting to violence in his name. I think it's a big insult to Ambedkar, who, you know, believed in Constitution, who helped to draft the Constitution, who believed in constitutional norms, who believed in constitutional democracy. And to see this kind of, you know, street fight, this was almost like a street fight on the street. You know, we've seen this happen in legislative assemblies, but this is the first time that Parliament has seen this kind of violence and scuffle between MPs. And it is, it's a very, very sad day. I have no words to describe how sad this is and how terrible I feel as somebody who's covered Parliament for 35 years to see this kind of thing happen on its grounds.
Right. Charupragya, you know, this back and forth, pushing, shoving, all that happened today, you know, the controversy apart, who do you think has to be blamed for the kind of scenes that we witnessed in the parliament today? Because there have been allegations, there have also been counter-allegations.
Let's not pretend that this is a one-off, because we have seen something like this building, unfortunately, since the first day the winter session began. We saw the stubbornness with which the leader of opposition chose to attend this session of parliament. We've seen members of his own alliance parties distance themselves from him and his views. All of this has been happening. And if you remember yesterday, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge ji actually openly threatened with violence and anarchy and arson if things don't go their way. Yesterday, he gave that speech. He gave that bite, and today this is what we see happening in Parliament. What would Ambedkar be saying today if he could see all of this? Not in my name. And please, anybody but Congress, because they have not been loyal to anyone who's not been a member of their family. That being said, you know what has happened to two senior BJP MPs today is terrible. I thought in 2001, when Congress and CPIM MPs actually manhandled a marshal inside Parliament to such an extent that he had to be sent to a ICU in hospital, I thought that was the lowest the opposition could fall to. I'm sorry to say they have beaten even that today. And if you listen to the statement Rahul Gandhi makes after this entire scuffle, he admits to there being he admits to it. See, he comes to a situation of he said, I said, but the end result is that Pratap Sarangi ji was grievously injured. He's in hospital today. And Rahul Gandhi didn't even have the decency to ask about his health. He didn't even say, how are you feeling? Are you badly hurt? Even taking his age into consideration. And that I feel is very, very sad. I'm sorry?
Yes, Charupragya, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say here is that the people of India cannot be seeing the parliament go on like this session after session. These scuffles have become common. There have been so many warnings coming the opposition's way time and time again. Even this time with folded hands, requests were being made. Then don't create a drama outside parliament every day. This show of placards, this making sure that the house doesn't function. It is not befitting people who are representing the entire country. The handful of people who are in parliament today represent our country, and they should learn to behave better. And it's really a black day. I think Rahul Gandhi, the least he could have done was ask after both the MPs' health, at least offer an apology or say, I'm sorry, whatever happened, are you feeling okay? But he did none of that. He chose to take the high road, the arrogant road, as usual, and this needs to come to a stop. Right. Action needs to be taken. We filed an FIR. Let's see how that unfolds.
Kapil Madan, would you like to respond to that, sir?
Yes, so, let me just say, by saying only one thing here, I mean, there are fundamental flaws in what, Charu is saying. Charu is not denying and disputing the fact that it was the BJP MPs who were, stopping the other opposition leaders to enter into the parliament. Charu does not even say here on the channel that Charu is open and, will request the central secretary, the Lok Sabha secretariat to issue and make public the CCTV footage of that particular area that will reveal everything, what was happening, and if there was any kind of manhandling, who was the person who was responsible for this manhandling. So the reason why you don't have the video here, it was very easy for the Bharatiya Janata Party to put that video on so that entire public would have known what exactly has
I'm sorry, Kapil, who got injured in the end? Remind me again.
Just a minute. No, Charu, what I am saying, I am not disputing. That's the reason why. I am saying there is a reason why that video is not out, because if the video will be out, it would be
absolutely not. There are plenty of videos with Rahul Gandhi admitting to this.
No, I'm sorry. No, there is no official video.
Did he even offer an apology? Have you offered an apology on his behalf? Did you ask after two senior MPs' health and well-being?
Charu, I do get your anxiety because there is no official video put out by Lok Sabha Secretariat, and there is a design behind it why that video has been held in,
Kapil, basic decency. Basic decency is to ask about a person who's been injured, who's got blood coming out of his head.
Just a minute. Charu, I get
so
that.
person who doesn't show basic decency is going to do anything else. It's simple human basic decent behavior.
If you could answer that question, that there could have been some, maybe when Rahul Gandhi came in to inquire what really happened, he could have stayed there for
Can
longer.
I just ask you, did not the MPs deserve basic decency from the leader of opposition? No, don't give me whataboutery, Kapil. Even if a random stranger on the road is sitting hurt, we go and ask, how are you feeling, sir?
Okay,
could Rahul Gandhi not do it to his fellow MPs?
Yeah, Professor Awad, you've been studying identity politics in India for a long time. If you look at two sides to this debate, one, of course, from the BJP saying that don't go by words, go by our actions. We have given constitutional status to the backward classes body. We have ensured representation. We've also ensured that, all the places that are considered special to B.R. Ambedkar, all of them have been developed as sites of, tribute. And there's, of course, the Congress party, on the other hand, saying that whatever the Home Minister spoke, that part of it basically undermined the kind of reverence that, people of the country, certain people of the country, and of course, the whole of country in some aspects have for somebody like Baba Sahib Ambedkar. In some ways, they are accusing him of abusing, not abusing, but insulting Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Tell us, when you look at this whole back and forth, the politics that is playing out and what really happened in the parliament today, did you expect something like this? Because Ambedkar is a sentimental topic, and we have seen social movements in India which have been in some ways very violent, because this is about rights, this is about deprivation, this is about oppression. But did you see this happen today? Did you anticipate something like this happening today?
I think there are three issues. First, political parties has been using Ambedkar just as monument. So Ambedkar is monumentalized by political parties, but when it comes to practicing Ambedkar, actually they are failed to practice and assert the Ambedkar's political ideology, because we live in a country where there is full of contradictions. So there is celebration of Ambedkar, but when it comes to Ambedkar's vision, mission, it seems like Ambedkar's idea of emancipation and liberation is not yet pursued by political parties. Because if you see the issues such as caste atrocities, issues such as social exclusion, participation in liberal democratic institutions such as universities, and so on and so forth, is very less. So this fact, figures, statistics, we can actually say that there is massive violation of democratic rights and democratic rights. So when it comes to Ambedkar's vision, political parties has failed to address the Ambedkar's political vision and idea of emancipation. So political parties just want to monumentalize Ambedkar for the vote back politics. So that is by and large persuasion of Ambedkar by political parties in India, and that is something which is very unfortunate.
Right.
Now, what happened in Parliament is a sad day in the history of Parliament, because this is the house where Ambedkar, Nehru, Patel, and other tall leaders had actually discussed the constitutive debate. And now what we see in Parliament is unfortunate, because this is the supreme house where people look at them and assert their moral, ethical, political responsibility. So if violence is taking place in Parliament, then probably there is no hope to look at, look at the political leaders and to, perhaps this is something which is very unfortunate.
Right. Aarti Jarat, in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, we did see this narrative around the constitution impact and influence the results in some ways. BJP was, BJP has the majority mandate, but it's a reduced mandate. But of course, the electoral victories of both Haryana and Maharashtra followed. So in some ways, this constitution debate was seen as very important. But now, whatever happened yesterday, we did see actually NDA coming more prepared for this debate, because we saw a lot of points coming out. We saw, the letters of Nehru, for that matter, the kind of hostility that he allegedly had, the aversion that he had towards Ambedkar's induction in the cabinet. Those several points also came out. But of course, now the narrative is back to the Red Book. It's also back to, in some ways, the Congress calling the BJP a Manuwadi party, and the BJP hitting out, saying that we have done everything for the SC/ST community. Tell us, what is what is going to be the fallout of something like this?
So, Vasudha, as we discussed this morning, and as the professor also mentioned, there's a very important slogan of Ambedkar's, which is liberty, equality, and fraternity. The Dalits have got liberty. Equality is still not quite there, and fraternity is we're not even anywhere near it. I think that the Ambedkar spirit, the Ambedkar's ideology, Ambedkar's vision, as the professor pointed out, none of these political parties are, following it or are trying to implement it or even seem to believe in it. Just wearing a blue t-shirt, just saying that we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the SC/ST communities is not going to actually, convince Dalits that that either the BJP or the Congress are parties that have the welfare of Dalits at heart. Welfares need empowerment. They need political power. They need, having reserved seats in Parliament does not give them political power. What they need is positions of decision-making in political parties. And frankly, I don't see any political party doing that for Dalits. They put them into ornamental positions and claim that they have Dalits right there, up in the leadership. But they are not the real powerhouses in these political parties. And I would say the same, although the Congress party has at least put in a Dalit, president as the party president, but everybody knows where the real power in the Congress party lies. And the same holds true for the BJP, which has not put any Dalit in.
Let me ask this question to Charu. The lack of a strong Dalit face to say counter someone like Mallikarjun Kharge, is that also in some ways, making it more challenging for the BJP to explain its position when it comes to Dalits? Because we understand that the Prime Minister is from the OBC community. You have Kiran Rijiju, who's a Buddhist himself, but a strong Dalit face, is that something in power, in positions of decision making, somebody who's a frontal face, is that one thing that the party lacks?
Vasudha, let's understand that every single person in BJP actually comes from a huge diversified background. You look at all our leaders, we are the ones who proudly say that we are giving representation to every single section of society, and we don't just say it, we prove it. You look at our Council of Ministers, you look at the way we see the leadership within the party itself. So when anyone says that there is no strong Dalit face to counter Mallikarjun Kharge, I think that's a very wrong narrative to portray. The second thing is, they wanted a debate on the Constitution. They got a debate on the Constitution, and then they had to run around hiding their face. The fact is, the stage was set for this drama yesterday when Mallikarjun Kharge made that statement about arson and anarchy. The stage was set for this drama today when both the Gandhi siblings turned up wearing blue. Blue. Have they ever worn blue? Have you ever seen Rahul Gandhi sport anything but his classic white t-shirt, which he's become known for? So this was a political statement through and through. They were preparing for this. There was an area which was set aside for this protest. They chose to push through. And finally, I'm going to say this again. Did Rahul Gandhi even show the basic amount of decency to ask two injured senior people how they are feeling? We would do it to a stranger, a leader of opposition. The head of the Congress party, in a way, could not do it to his fellow MPs, and that is deplorable, and there is no defending that.
Kapil Madan, would you like to respond to that,
trying to defend something as
completely out of
that.
time. Kapil Madan, please respond to that charge that Rahul Gandhi could have at least apologized.
Charu is, otherwise very, very rational when he makes a point, but today she sounded, a little irrational and illogical when she said that,
Can you just answer my pointed question?
Yes, no, allow me to make my
point.
Don't
discuss my personality on national television.
I am sorry, Charu. I am sorry. What she's trying to say is, they would have, issues, someone wearing blue or someone would, wearing, white. This is the kind of issue, Charu is debating.
It's as much a statement as the bag
because someone wears.
It's a political statement which deserves the comment.
That's exactly the point. I think Charu has made the intent is, very, very clear, because this mindset is coming from where? It's coming from Manu Smriti, which was being opposed by B.R. Ambedkar Sahab.
Okay, I have to give the last word to Professor Abad.
Because you will have white,
I'm sorry,
there would be a
Abad,
different treatment. If you will have blue, there would be a different treatment.
I am sorry. Important point on wearing blue. Professor Abad, do you think that something like this also ensures sustainable engagement with issues like identity politics? What does this show about our political leaders? Because we did see Priyanka Gandhi carrying bags on the Palestinian issue, or for that matter, Bangladeshi Hindus. We also saw them wearing blue today. But does that actually mean that there is some sustainable engagement with identity politics or even foreign policy? What does this really show about the state of politics in the country?
Celebration of ideas without paralyze. So it's happening with Ambedkar. So there is celebration of Ambedkarism, but there is no practice of Ambedkar. So therefore, Ambedkar's ideology is paralyzed in India, which is prevalent in social, political, economic domain. So now perhaps this is the time when we look at Ambedkar's proposal of Pune Pact, where Ambedkar talked about the independent political Dalit leadership. Each party's elected representatives are dependent elected representatives, because they have to cater the interest of majority of the people, and during that care, they lose the interest of their own people. So political parties are giving political representatives from SC, ST, OBC background, but these leaders are dependent political leaders. So I think the practice of Ambedkar is minimal, but celebration of Ambedkar is high, and that's because of electoral vote bank politics.
Okay, that's a very important point. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. One keeps hearing this often, that the functioning of the nation's parliament in some ways symbolizes its civility. The basic ask from MPs is also about cordial behavior. Can politics play out like this in the parliament as it did today? Is this also a sign of our times that fault lines have only deepened when it comes to politics? Those are difficult questions. Tomorrow is the last day of the winter session of the parliament. NDTV will get you all updates from the floor of the house and from outside. Till then, keep watching NDTV.